Bueno, pues aquí estoy en los jardines de alrededor del castillo de Malahide.
And there was a stretch on them as well, from what I saw.
Menuda campiña que tienen. Mira, ese de un avioncito que está despegando. La campiña irlandesa. Bueno, pues ahí vemos el castillo de Malahide. Tiene buena pinta. Bueno, pues aquí estamos en los jardines del castillo Malahide. Bueno, pues aquí tenemos otra vista del castillo Malahide con las piedras y los árboles creciendo a lo largo de sus paredes. Aquí el cementerio del castillo. Y esta era la capilla que es el aquí del techo. El cementerio era la capilla. Y los cuervos dándose una vuelta. Mira cómo se pasean los pavos. Mira cómo se viene hasta el pavo. O la pava. Libertad para los pavos. Que aún falta para la vida. Se meten con la puerta automática. Aquí hay más pavos. Aquellos eran pavos. Este sí es un pavo. Tiene el plumaje mucho más vistoso. Más colorido. Bueno, pues aquí estamos en el huerto del castillo. Bueno, jardín. Palmera, pobrecito, está raquítica. Bueno, el frío que hace para aquí. Pajarito. El pavo. Bueno, pero aquí hace un calor tremendo. Con el contraste de temperatura de fuera se me ha empañado la cámara. Y se está empañando otra vez. Porque en este invernadero, para tener plantas tropicales, pues tienen calentadores funcionando. No es solo protegen con el cristal, sino que están funcionando los motores para que se caliente. Que se está a gustito. Que hace más calor que en el edificio principal. Bueno, pues el estanque está un poco pachucho. Y ahí está la torre de y el jardín de los pollos, que es el que estaba hace un momentito. Pues esta es de Victorian House, que es de 1900, un invernadero antiguo que lo trajeron aquí en 1990, pero el invernadero es antiguo. Y aquí, pues un bonito motivo para el parquecito. Bueno, pues este es el viejo jardín de rosas. Bueno, claro, pues aunque se adorna una florecita, pero pues siendo 1 de marzo, que todavía hace fresquito, pues como que no se ven muchas flores. Ahí se está mirando el pavo en el espejo. Dirán, mira qué guapos soy. Claro, como fuera hace frío, pues aquí se mete el calorcito. Como está la puerta automática.
History about the castle and the people that lived here. They're intertwined. You can't separate one from the other. So Malahide Castle is a very special place because of the Talbots. They're the family that lived here for over 800 years. Rose Talbot was the last member to leave here. That was in 1976. And the first member to arrive here was Richard Talbot. He came in 1174. He was a Norman knight from Normandy in France, but came here from Wales with King Henry II and was given this part of Malahide as a gift by King Henry because Richard was his trusted knight. So he built a rectangular shaped fortified tower, and the walls of this tower still stand today behind the panelling in this room. And this partition here between these two rooms gives you an indication how thick these walls were, and this 18th century Gothic window was a later addition. The original tower had no windows in it, just arrow hoops. That was to let the smoke out from the burning fire that would have been on the hearthstone in the centre of the room. No chimneys, they weren't invented back then either, so it was a very smoky affair. Hence why all this oak is stained a darker colour to cover up any of the soot that would have been marking the walls from the smoke. No chimneys, they weren't invented back then. As I said, the family would have congregated here with their servants. They'd all locked themselves in for security and safety. It was unsettling times because there would have been a lot of invasions with the Irish trying to claim their land back, and even the farm animals from outside. They would have been brought in and locked in underneath us, stop anybody poaching them. The animals were giving off great body heat. The heat was rising up through the floor and heating the family. This was wonderful. Underfloor heating, and it was free. Imagine how much you pay for that today. There was something else they were getting for free. Oh, the smell. It sounds too good. And the floor we stand on, it's called a rush woven matting floor. Back then they called it the moving carpet. That many bugs and insects underneath it. It did move when you looked at it. Oh, I'm not painting a nice picture, sure I'm not? No. Okay. Of course, there's a marble altar. It's where the local bishop would come and serve mass to the family on a Sunday morning. Had to be discreet about practicing their Catholic faith because it would have been when penal law was introduced. To the right there's a secret passageway that goes on for a half a mile, brings you right out to the marina in Malahide. This was a bustling port back then, as busy as Dublin port is now today. So this was also given as a gift to the family. So it was a way of them, you know, charging custom duty to all the boats that were coming in, and they were generating revenue, drawn and quartered, because he had ordered the execution of King Charles I, and on his anniversary on the 19th of April he can be seen on his grey stallion called Pucka, galloping up and down the back roads that leads you into the estate. And if you see him and he gets off his horse, you'll know him because the horse is headless, but if he gets off his horse he'd be dressed in a full coat of armour. And if you stand in front of him and look him straight in the eyes, he breaks in 4 pieces and disappears. That's the first ghost. I'll tell you about more as we move along. So I think we're going to leave this dark, dreary medieval time for a brighter era. So follow me as we enter into Georgian Dublin in 60. And it was around the time that there was a fire here in the castle. So this was all renovated, this part. And the inspiration of this room was given to Richard and Margaret Talbot, who just returned from the Grand Tour, the Great Travel. This is what the wealthy would have done when they went on holidays, not for one or 2 weeks, more like at least 1 to 2 years, travelling all around Europe, visiting stately homes and grand palaces, This is where they get their inspiration from. The vibrant colour on the walls is called Malahide orange. It's strong pigment. You would have picked it up in your local B&Q or hardware store back then. But we trace this colour back to Tasmania, where Richard and Margaret's third son William set up a sheep farming estate in a gold mining town on the east coast of Tasmania. That's called Malahide, and it's still there today. The Rococo plasterwork up in the ceiling dates back to 1812, and it's designed by our Irish stucador Robert West. The motif is of birds and mythical. You look out, you see two trees, either window. The tree to the right is snapped dinner. This couch in front of me is called Confident, or a matchmaking couch that would have been used by Lady Isabel at one of her soirees or evening gatherings. So you'd have a young couple that would be courting, sitting side by side on the couch, but there'd always be a gap between them. They weren't allowed to get too cosy. Reason being, they'd have their chaperone with them, or their minder. They'd be sitting either end of the couch, pointing the opposite direction, because they didn't want to look at the couple, just wanted to hear the conversation. And that conversation had to remain standard, discussing boring things like the weather or what they had for lunch. And if the conversation got anyway spicy, they would be separated immediately. And two subjects were never allowed to be discussed while sitting in the Confident, and that was religion or politics. So some of the guests would sit at this table while they played cards or backgammon while sipping their sherry, and some of the beautiful ladies would sit at these Louis XV Regency chairs while they practiced their needlework and their tapestry. And the ladies always wore very thick makeup that was mixed with lead and sometimes arsenic. Okay? Now, it gets cold in the winter, there's no central heating back in the 20th century, and the only way to heat a fine room like this is to have a big blazing fire lit. And the lady would always have her maid with her. Maid's job is to keep an eye on the lady that she didn't sit too near the fire, because if she did, she's wearing all this wax. What's going to happen? Correct, right. So she used this clever little invention called a fire screen. Keep an eye on the lady's face. She saw the wax was starting to drip. She'd hold this up in front of her and say, "My lady, you are losing face." Or, "My lady, to save face." And that would save embarrassment to the lovely lady. But if my lady was having a conversation with another lady friend and there was a remark made on the facial expression changing, the reply to her may be, "Mind your own beeswax." So these idiomatic Old English phrases, losing face, saving face, is how they could be applied in this situation. Original pieces of furniture in this room is this Pedro Bossi inlaid marble table. It was made by the master craftsman when he came here from Italy in the mid-18th century. Never reproduced any of his work. Everything is one of a kind. Even to his dying day, he never disclosed how he mastered his craft. And before he died, he said, "You know, there's only one God, but there's only one Bossi." These George III giltwood side tables are original as well, early 18th century. I'm not obliged to disclose the exact figure of what they're worth, but you wouldn't be getting much change out of £250,000 for one of them. We've been in the Talbot family for generations. There's a lion's head in the centre of them. You'll see a lot of lion's heads around the castle because it is the Talbot family crest. We have a cast bronze one here, one on either side of the curtain rail. We even have them in the centre of our Rococo plasterwork up in the ceiling. Judgment of Paris was painted in 1911 by Peter Paul Rubens of the School of Rubens. This is an original Rubens painting. Now, Milo Talbot was the 7th Baron of de Malahide in Ireland, and he inherited the castle in 1948, came to live here with his little sister Rose and their mother Eva. And I'm going to show you a portrait of the family in a minute outside this door. Even though it's a long time since the Honourable Lady Rose lived here in the castle, she still likes to keep her eye on the place who's coming and going in her home. So when you're looking at her, she'll be watching you too. It was painted by William Carter in 1922, and the eyes of the children are like the Mona Lisa. Milo is a diplomat. He worked for the English government as an ambassador, and he was allowed to enter into, he worked in Vietnam. He was allowed to enter into China in 1950. Would have been a hard enough going up to the bedrooms now, okay? Please hold the inside handrail, the brass one, it's more modest, as more dressing rooms. And Lady Rose's clothes are still hanging in there. Her suit is from the House of Goray in Bond Street in London. And they specialised in a pleated skirt, and as popular as, say, Christian Dior is now today. And the Rococo plasterwork you can see in the sharpest point over the window. What have we got?
Pineapple.
A pineapple. And the most modern piece of furniture in the whole castle is over here on the bedside locker. Can anybody tell me what it is?
Alarm.
Yeah.
Coffee maker.
Very close.
Tea.
Yeah. Well spotted. Tea's made. So that was designed in 1950. The original one was 1930. And it was to give the elite more independence so that they wouldn't be relying on their servants so much. But before that, say Lady Isabel in the early 1900s would have been lying in bed on a cold morning, you know, there'd be a knock on the door, and there was locks on these doors, and it'd be her servant bringing her up her tea and toast.
I remember those when I was young.
Ladies' master, children's bedroom. It wasn't uncommon for a married couple to sleep in separate bedrooms back then. There's another 5 bedrooms up on the next floor, and the nursery's up there as well, so that's where the servants used to sleep. The bathroom was a later addition in the 1900s, because it wasn't until 1891 that the...
Que la biblioteca se está calentita.
Okay, so here we are in the Great Hall. This is the last room of the tour. If you're willing to spend a few bob, we had a banquet here only last night, the second one of the season so far, so that's why my voice is a little bit hoarse, because I was here until after 8 last night. But the room was designed in 1475, and the Minstrels Gallery was added on in the 1600s, as was the library. There is Cordoba Spanish leather wallpaper hanging in there. That's over 400 years old, and important documents like the deeds of the estate used to be kept in the library. So the original pieces of this room was designed in Chippendale style. The original pieces of furniture are these 18th century chairs from the Bailey of Dublin, as are the wine coolers either side of the fireplace. Breakfast that the family would have eaten at every morning at this table would be woodcock, pigeon, duck, liver, chicken, sardines on toast. The whole table would have been full of food. In 1690, 15 members of the family sat down to have breakfast. All men, all dressed in uniform. It was a sombre occasion because they were heading to a battle. The battle was the Battle of Frances Talbot. She's another one of our paintings, or one of our ghosts. She leaves this painting every now and again, okay? Now there's an area in this room where the spirit is very active, and it has been known that people have started to feel unwell while standing in this particular spot. So Mum, if I were you, I'd move a little bit over to me. So when I'm in this room, I always stand here, okay? Because when Frances Talbot leaves the painting, she stands there, she'd just be shouting and screaming at her husband, the Duke of Tyrconnell. I don't think she's forgave him for losing that battle. And then when her voice gets hoarse from shouting so much, she storms off into the library, slams the door, causes an awful racket. Don't worry, she only comes out at night. The ghost that's the most interesting was Puck. He was the castle jester. He used to entertain from the Minstrels Gallery up above. Okay, there's a staircase behind this wall. We call it Puck's staircase. And the little door in the corner, we can't see it now, but that door is where Puck used to use for going in and out of the turret room. Okay, where he used to sleep at night. Now, Puck of the turret room. Bringing back up to this room up here where he'd come out onto the Minstrels Gallery and entertain the family. But there's a maid and her lady that used to come in every day and have breakfast with the family. Sit here in these 2 chairs, okay? The maid had long blonde hair, just like yours, big blue eyes. Puck was mad about her, okay? Every day for a whole year she used to come in, sit with the family and have breakfast. One day she comes in, he looks down and he goes, well, look at her, there she is. She's gorgeous, but she's killing me. I can't keep it in any longer. I have to tell her how I feel. I've been in love with this girl. Feels like all my life. So he comes across the gallery downstairs, out the door, over to the maid, and he goes, my lady, you are stunning. The most beautiful vision I've ever laid my eyes on. I've been in love with you forever. Please, will you be my bride? She looked at him. She laughed in his face. She said, me? Marry a clown? Are you crazy? No way. It's not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen because she had her eye on a handsome duke sitting on the far side of the table. And poor Puck was devastated. His head was bent down, goes back through his little door, goes to sleep that night, but never woke the next morning. And I think he died of a broken heart because the maid wouldn't be his bride. Very sad, really. But as a ghost, he's here in the castle. He's always playing tricks on us. He lets the fire alarm off all the time. It's very annoying. He can also be seen around in the graveyard. He has a wheelbarrow. He's gathering up old bones, the bones of the Talbot family that are buried around there. He's trying to put them back together again, because he's missing them so much. Oh my God. And he can be seen with the wheelbarrow, running out of the graveyard, running across the lawn, singing all sorts of mad crazy songs. That's Puck. You'll know him when you see him. You see his little door there? You put your hand up to the keyhole, you feel a breeze in your hand. It means Puck is in the castle. He's behind that door. Might be having a little sleep. No breeze in your hand? You check out the graveyard. See him there. Okay, last thing I'll point out to you in this room is the coat of arms, family crest. Here we have the lion again. Lion of the dog, Fort and Fidel. It's Latin for strength and fidelity. The dog, Talbot, large white hunting dog, extinct now. We used to breed him here in the estate for a long, long time. This hatchment would have been put on the front of the castle for an important occasion like a wedding ceremony or so. So folks, that brings us to the end of the tour. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy.
Ok, y con esto nos despedimos del castillo de Malahide.